Hello everyone, in this mini lecture we're going to talk about what is the analog signal and what is the digital signals and the difference between them. They are used in every day in our life, from cell phone to television to computer to all the electronics. Okay, alright, let's talk about the analog signal first. The analog signal is a signal that has a huge range of values, and before we can understand what is exactly the ranges, we have to talk about the logical level. And a logical level is a voltage level at which a particular device communicates. So when we are talking about the microcontrollers, a lot of microcontrollers that are used today, the common logical level is 5 volts. And some are also used 3.3 volts or 1.8 volt to reduce the power consumption, but it really doesn't matter. And so let's see, we have a microcontroller that has a base voltage level which is 0 or ground, and a maximum voltage which is 5 volts. And an analog signal can vary anywhere between these two rails, or like a sine wave here. That maybe you are familiar with. A sine wave is also an analog signal, and if we sample it over time, and each point on this signal can represent a different voltage value, and each of this value is your analog value for the signal. Most things we do today in the real world are analog, and the key point here is the analog signals are the signals that are continuously variable, or we can say the analog signal are continuously changing. And yes, that is the key point you have to remember about the analog signal. Now let's talk about digital signals. Digital signals are different from analog signals, and these only have on or off, and these two values. We often see it represented as 1 or 0. 1 representing high or on, and 0 represents low or off. When high or low, when we talk about them, we are talking about the logical level in the microcontroller. And so let's say if we have a 5 volt microcontroller, and we get 5 volt signal, and it will be 1. And if we get 0 signal, it will be interpreted as 0. And so what happens if we have some value between the 5 volts and the 0 volts? What the digital value will be? Well, the way that works is basically we will have some kind of threshold voltage. This is analog, and say here 5 volts, and we represent as the 1, logic 1, and here is 0 volts and a logical 0. And we have to use some threshold voltage between the. Let's see, the threshold voltage here, let's see, is 2 volts, and there is the 3 volts, for example. And if the voltage is between the 0 volts and the 2 volts in this area, it will be interpreted as the 0. And if the voltage is between this area, between the 3 volts to 5 volts, it will be interpreted as the logic 1. And but if we get some value between these two thresholds in this area, what the digital value will be? Well, we call this area called dead area. In this dead area, if you have some value in this dead area, the digital value will be kind of floating. So this is we have to avoid it. Well, okay. The threshold voltage is kind of depending on the transistor technology that is being used in microcontrollers. So for different microcontroller, we have different threshold voltage. It's depending on the transistor technology. Well, okay, this is digital. And the key to understand the difference between analog and digital is to remember that analog signal that is a continuously changing and continuously variable. And the digital values have some defined levels, which is one of zero. Alright, this is what is analog signal and this is digital signal. Alright, in next videos we're gonna talk about how to convert the analog signal and the digital signal. Alright, thanks for watching.